Anthony Hartwig here with the Boardman Softball Coach's Corner with head coach Fred Mootz. Fred, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Anthony.
And when we talk Boardman Softball, you guys had such an incredible year last year, 19 wins. What were the expectations coming into this season?
This season I had big expectations. 19-win season, nice season. I think we had won 10 or 12 games in a row. We fell a little short in the district championship game against a very solid Hudson team, 25-1 team against a 22-0 pitcher. 2-0. They had a couple timely hits. My young stud pitcher, Maston Lester, she matched them pitch for pitch. Unfortunately, they got a couple of timely hits that we didn't. We didn't take advantage of the runners on base that we had. So ultimately, not only to win a conference championship, which we also fell a little short last year, at least for a tie the conference with Fitch, it's still win a district and to move on. When I took this job, it's not to win 20 games a year and bow out early in the tournament. It's to make a run at the state championship and get back to, what Boardman High School softball was back in the early 2000s, obviously. So it's huge.
Such a tough district you were in. How does that help going forward this program?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is. It's an extremely tough district. The regional, if you get out of the district, you're blessed with even tougher regional. You look at teams like Louisville and, oh boy, I can't even think right now. Jackson, Hoover. So obviously you're dealing with a tough district. But that being said, hey, at the end of the day, you want to make that run. You got to be willing to put the time and put the extra work in, which, my girls have done. We have a very good off-season program. And, with this young nucleus of girls that work really well together, a tight-knit group, they put in the work. And, their goal is what my goal is, and that's to make that ultimate run. I mean, when I took over this program, was to really build a different culture, a culture to win. Unfortunately, it felt like they were trying not to lose games before I got on board, and it changed that mindset just that little bit to give them that much, hey, look, we're good, we can do this, but to do it, you can't start in February and then end in May or June. You got to put the work in the off season. I think 19 of my 22 girls I had on the roster play travel softball, and again, every single last one of them had my off-season workout. So that's what's key.
You have a pretty young team, just one senior this year. So what was the kind of leadership dynamics this year with one senior and a young team?
Lauren was my one senior. Great leader, great team captain. I have 3 juniors also that are also great leaders. But I have some young leaders too as well. I mean, I have a couple of these sophomore girls that, I told them, look, I don't care, freshman, senior, I want leaders, period. And some of them, they're more vocal than others, and some of them, they lead more by their play. But, that's one thing about this team, we have several leaders, and it all started with Lauren, up top with my senior, only one. But, she took some of that leadership role last year as a junior. She caught every single game for me last year, and she's in the toughest position on the field, and she's the captain of the boat. So yeah, absolutely, we got great leadership on this team.
And Lauren, you're one senior. We'd be remiss if we didn't just give you that opportunity to highlight her further and kind of talk about what she brings to the team and her personality and kind of the leadership that she brings as well.
She's just a good kid. I mean, she's a good kid, good family. I've known her family for years. I've known her brother. Her brother umpired for me for a few years. Good kid, good solid kid, good solid leader, does well in school, and again, has taken the young ones under her wing and really developed them. And like I said, last year she came through big time, caught every game for me, never even questioned, whether it's back-to-back, whether it's double headers. Look, never, ever once wavered from catching a game. Never said, hey, coach, I need a game off. None of that. She was ready to strap up and go out and catch every game. So, she's a great leader. And, like I said, a great kid overall. She's right in the middle line, in the middle of my lineup as a hitter. She hit well. So, absolutely. She's the only one, but she's a good one. She's going to be missed.
It's been a tough couple of weeks for sports everywhere with this uncertainty that the virus is bringing and everything. Today,
Right.
Mike DeWine just canceled school for the rest of the year, so sports season is in serious jeopardy. But what has the communication with your team been like?
I've communicated with them every week. I've told them to keep plugging away, keep working. I get them. They send me videos. They send me pictures. They stay optimistic. Just keep the faith. Unfortunately, we kind of figured this was going to be the situation with this virus. Obviously, the livelihood of people are much more important than a game, but it doesn't make it any easier. I mean, to have a season ripped from underneath you, especially to these seniors. Look, not just my senior, all the seniors at Boardman and these other schools. I mean, it's tough. I mean, to lose out on not just sports, your prom, your last day of school, your commencement, all that. It's really tough. And unfortunately, we've prepped so hard for this season to have a great season. And and when it first kicked off, we had 3 weeks with them. And, I told the girls, I said, look, during this couple of week downtime, just keep working. We got to keep working. We got to be prepared. There may be other teams that we're going to lay down. We're not. We got to keep working. We have to social distance, but that doesn't mean not get out and do your thing in out back with your dad, with your coaches, with your instructors, one-on-one. Whatever you can do to practice safe social distancing and keep working, because when we get back at it, I don't want to be behind the 8 ball here. I want to, transition right back into where we left off. So it's tough.
Pretty young team, as we said before. So when you start thinking about next season into 2021, you got to still think that there are still bright things ahead for Boardman softball with returning all but one player.
Absolutely. I got 13 sophomores, and truly, 34 of them played last year, as freshmen. They had playing time. I have 5 incoming freshmen this year. My numbers were low this year. 3 juniors, 1 senior. And this incoming freshman class for next season is going to be another big class. So the numbers will be back up. But you're right. As far as optimism and we're ready. I mean, we're excited. Again, if we lose the season, we get it. But, you can't stay down. You got to get back after it when we're able to get back after it. I still will have, 3 really amazing juniors. They're going to be seniors. And, like I said, 13 sophomores, and a lot of them are just extremely talented group of girls. Dana Haas, who was my right fielder last year, she was a second-team all-conference. Jenna Alexa, who was first-team all-conference as a shortstop. And obviously Madison Lester, first-team all-conference, and was in the running for player of the year as a freshman. So, and along with Nadia Rawana was another key player I had last year as a freshman. And then you throw in, Morgan Cherney and Catherine Hora, who's also another pitcher of mine who had a great summer. And I was so excited for her. She came off such a tremendous summer. She's not only a great athlete, she's a great hitter, but great pitcher. She had a huge summer, and I was looking forward to her getting back after it. And Nina Scavelli, also another junior, absolute, probably the best swing on my team by far. Great first baseman. So, yeah, I mean, we have a lot of young girls and a lot of young talent coming in. So I'm really excited, as much as it's going to pain all of us, obviously, to lose a season. But, I'm excited for the future, and this is exactly where we want to be with Boardman softball.
Now let's talk about Boardman softball in the circle with your pitching. Who you got, and what kind of things do they bring to the table?
Well, last year, Madison Lester, who was a freshman, I mean, this kid, she just was unwavering. I put her in games. She pretty much pitched every game down the stretch for me. Every pivotal game that we were in, she pitched. The kid is a tremendous worker, one of the maybe arguably the best work ethic I've seen. One of probably the most improved kid I have ever seen in any sport. in 2 years, I have ultimately never seen a kid improve in the circle as much, not just in the circle, but her all-around game. But tremendous pitcher. So, we're going to lean on her a ton, and obviously Catherine, who come off a unbelievable season. Catherine and Hora, her brothers, great athletes at Boardman, both of them. One's still there, one graduated playing in college now, football. Great kid, great athlete, and another kid who can just downright smack the ball around, and run the bases, and had a great glove for me at third base last year. Like I said, coming into travel this year, she had a tremendous travel season. Pitching she was just stupendous. And Madison was a little nicked up. Madison had an injury during volleyball, so we weren't certain where Madison would be to start the year. So, I was going to lean heavily on Kat to get things going early in the year. This schedule we put together this year with my AD, tremendous schedule. Generally we go down south every year, but we wanted to amp up the schedule. We had Champion on the schedule. We had Poland on the schedule twice. I had Louisville on the schedule. We had some LeBray, Hubbard, some really solid teams, to really push my team to see where we're at. Again, whether I won 12 games this season, but knowing that, hey, we've pushed ourselves that much more, that we know we're ready when we get into the districts and into the regional play. It's easy to go out and play and win 20 games and then bow out early. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to really push my team. And it's a shame because, like I said, we had such a great lineup, a great schedule to play against, state champions. Louisville, Division I state champions. Poland, state semifinalists, and obviously champion. We know what they've done. She's an amazing coach, and what she's done with that program. We scrimmaged them last year, early in the year, and it was like watching a well-oiled college team come rolling in. You're just in awe of how unbelievably prepared they are, but just how well they play together. And, we knew that, hey, look, this is the kind of schedule we want to put together. This is the kind of team we want to become. We want to be the next champion. We want to be the next Poland, so on and so forth.
When you talk about state champions, you have had some in the past at Boardman with the 2001 state championship team on our YSN Mania bracket in the finals. Yeah. So what would it mean to kind of get the program back to that sense of greatness?
Wow. I tell you, I don't know if, I don't know if we'd ever be that great. That team was, just unbelievable. And a credit to the coaching staff. Obviously, Bill Amro did an amazing job back then. But more importantly, that group of girls, they just worked. They worked and worked and worked. They fell short the year prior, and they came back hungry, obviously, to win it. I think they were in the top 20 in the nation at one point, and that's just unbelievable. So, believe you me, if we can get back to that caliber of play, then I'm just going to sit on the bucket and hope not to screw that up if I can get to that point. So that team was tremendous, and there's a lot of, obviously, story, pride, and history of Boardman on that team. And, I think the world, a lot of the girls that played are women now, obviously, with kids, and they're married. So, that team was tremendous. And, yeah, absolutely. We want to be that team. Who doesn't, So we're going to work. We're going to, I'm going to do my best to get them prepared to be that team. And, and I know this group, they'll work that hard for me.
I talked to Marissa Davies a couple days ago with her interview for the Legends of Tomorrow. Just talk about how she kind of stays connected to the program and the kind of things she does to still help build Boardman softball.
Yeah, she's awesome. We reached out to her we were putting together a record board at Boardman, and so we were in contact with her. She's set some, 30-win season, which, boy, I tell you, if anybody can surpass that or even match that, God bless them. That's amazing. But yeah, she's been involved. She's involved with one of our young Boardman teams. They're a travel team. She has 3 daughters that play, and she's really involved. And that's what I want. I want to know who my 8, 9, and 10-year-old girls are. And I need people like Marissa who have played this game, not only in Boardman, but at a high level in college, was a state champion pitcher. And those are the kind of people I want in place for, my youth moving on up. My goal this year, I was going to coach a 13, 14-year-old Tri-T team and, this summer. And because, again, I want to make sure I can obviously coach these girls prior to coming into playing. They're 8th graders, these girls that were going to be coming in. So this way they kind of get a feel for who me as a coach. I know these girls, but, they don't see me on that everyday basis as a coach yet. So, that was my goal. And obviously to move down to the lower levels and kind of, work with some of the younger girls year in and year out. And a woman like Marissa, obviously in place, coaching one of our younger teams is tremendous. We have a couple of other ex-coaches, Mike Trell, who's an ex-Boardman coach. He's coaching one of the younger teams as well. A lot of Boardman girls that are on our Travel Storm team. So, it's exciting to have people involved that, are tremendous. I mean, the guy that I learned most of my mentor, Marco Marinucci, he coaches our 16Us, our athletic director, still coaching travel softball. So, he taught me a lot about this game, almost everything about this game. And, to have him in place, again, with my girls moving forward, it's not just me. Believe you me, I have a great staff behind me. But, again, it's that youth, it's those younger ages that are key, that I have in place coaches that are teaching them the game the right way prior to coming to high school.
Let's talk about that staff that you got. Who are your assistants, and then kind of what do they each bring to the table?
Well, last year, we're a little different this year. Lindsay Bates, who was actually a teacher at Warren, she played college softball as well. She is my assistant varsity coach. Lauren Gabriel, who is my head JV coach, she also was a graduate of Boardman, was a heck of a softball player at Boardman. She went on to play basketball at Mount Union and could have easily played both sports. She was, like I said, tremendous softball player at Boardman and, like I said, went to Mount Union, still at Mount Union. And Charlotte Rogers, who's also a coach or a teacher at Warren, she coached at Warren for a couple of years and is actually a cheerleading coach out at Canfield. So last year I had Lauren Pavlansky, who coached Mike Pavlansky's daughter, who was assistant on the JVs with Lauren. And let me tell you, they did an amazing job. I mean, an amazing job. I was a little nervous, young girls, just in college, how would the girls, relate to them as, they're close in age in some ways, how could they separate themselves from, obviously being coaches and, just short of being removed from high school themselves. Amazing. I couldn't ask for a better job of what they did. And obviously Lindsay, my right-hand lady, she's awesome. Lindsay, we work well together. Lindsay's kind of like the mom, when Dad Fred yells at him, she's, she kind of, they're there to go to Lindsay. And, we work well together, and it does, it works well. But, Lindsay's extremely competitive. All my coaches are extremely competitive. And, I was on the prize, like I said, and they were so much, just as disappointed as I was in the girls last year to fall a little short. So great staff. Like I said, I'm surrounded by great administration, and I can't ask for nothing more.
Obviously, the goal of coaching is to teach and to grow. What are some things that your student athletes have taught or have you learned from them over the last couple of years with this program?
It's funny because this group here is, as far as classroom, they're off the chart. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, they're great athletes, but let me tell you something. They are scholar athletes. It's a amazing group of students. And, again, that's number one. That's always going to be number one in my book. Obviously, you are a student first. And, it's tough. I mean, I've missed them. I mean, it's been tough being away from them. There's days they probably say they'd probably be best if I wasn't there. And Lindsay was running practice. They're probably saying, coach is, he's tough today, but let me tell you something. I love these girls, each and every one of them, like they're my daughters. And it's been tough being away from them. It really has. And they've taught me a lot. I mean, they really have. I have a daughter that plays at Geneva College, and, she was ultimately the best teammate I've ever been around. She still is. And I've learned a lot from her. She taught me a lot. So if I could mold my girls to be half the teammate player she was, and the same thing, scholar athlete that she is, that's all I could ask. And they've taught, like I said, they teach me a lot. I coached football for several years. It was a big transition, going from boys and football to girls and softball. But you know what? I love every bit of it. I love every practice. I love it every day. I look forward to it, man. I'd said to myself, if I ever find myself not looking forward to going to a practice, or, like I said, I'm new to this whole coaching, obviously high school. It's only my second year, but man, I live for it. I love it all. And I love this group, and they're great kids and great parents. And that's part of it. I mean, hey, I've been blessed with some pretty good parents, and I've known these parents, a lot of them, because like I said, my daughter's only been out of school a couple of years, so I know most of these parents, and I've kind of been around them, and that helps. But you know what? I got a great group, and it's tough. It's tough being away from them, but you know what? We're going to keep plugging. We're not going to hold our heads down too long. We're going to keep working when we have that opportunity to get back at it.
Coach, if you could pick one thing that you would want people to take away from your program after they leave, what would it be?
Man, the want to give back, and when they come back, I want them to say, hey, I love playing for Coach. As much as I want to win, and I want to win a state championship, obviously that's the goal. You know what? I want them to be good human beings. I want them to be successful, but I want to leave a lasting impact on their lives. I want them to come back and say, hey, not only do I want to coach at Boardman, my alma mater, their alma mater, I want I love playing for Coach. He taught me, he was a little integral part in me becoming who I am today, as a person, and the success that I'm going to have as an adult. And, that's it. I don't want to be that guy that, they hated playing for. Look, the 4 fast years, and unfortunately already won due to, circumstances of a pandemic. When people say it goes fast, it does go fast. It truly does. And, these are their best years of their lives. So I hope I give a lasting impact on each and every one of them in some regard.
And Coach, we'll have some fun with you before we let you go. Quarantine has kept us all in the house the last couple of weeks. What has been your favorite quarantine activity?
Well, I've been doing a lot of household chores. I've, been doing some cleaning out, some painting, stuff like that. But a lot of Netflix, a lot of new shows on the Netflix. Just got done with Ozark, great show. And unfortunately eating too much. That's probably the worst end of it all. But you know what? It is what it is. It's about staying healthy and people following the rules and doing what they're supposed to do. And hopefully the longer we do that, the quicker we get past this whole pandemic, and we move back to normalcy in everybody's life. But again, it's all about people staying healthy, and that's all I care about at this point.
Amen to that, Coach. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us here today. And we hope that we see you on the field real soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to thank you guys. I want to thank you and DJ and all YSN. You guys do an amazing job. You guys are tremendous. I think the world of what you guys have done. And any school that's not on board with you guys yet, they're missing out. I mean, you guys, you bring so much great exposure to the student athlete, and keep up the hard work. You guys are awesome.
Well, thank you, Coach. We're definitely going to try. Good to having you.
Thanks a lot, Anthony. You too, buddy.